What's up, people? Today I want to show you a quick and powerful way to add width to your songs when mastering. What to do and what not to do. Best of all, you don't need any expensive third-party plugins to do this. You can use what you already have in your DAW. And if you're not using Ableton Live, no worries. I'm going to show you how you can achieve this same thing with a freeware EQ plugin. So let's dive right in. Before we get going, I wanted to give you a heads up that very soon we're doing a free webinar on mastering. We're bringing in some super talented professional mastering engineers, and you're going to have the opportunity to learn directly from them. We'll be talking about current trends in mastering so you have the most up-to-date information possible, as well as cutting-edge techniques, plugins, and equipment that you'll want to know all about. Seriously, this is a great opportunity to ask questions and learn some serious trade secrets to amp up your mastering skills. But this is coming up right away and the spots are limited, so please click the link included in this video and sign up right now. We'd love to see you there. Now for the topic at hand, let's first talk about what not to do. A common mistake I often see when people are mastering their own tracks is they put utility on their master channel and then they have bass mono engaged. Great, that's all good, but then people simply turn up the width control in order to add width to their song. This raises the volume of the song's stereo information, which sounds okay, but it's in a very, very imprecise way because it's widening everything above 120 hertz. Or without bass mono on, even worse, it's widening the entire frequency spectrum. This is most likely not what you want to be doing to your whole mix when you're mastering. Or another thing people will do is they'll switch utility to mid-side, right or control click, and then they'll turn it clockwise. Now, this is also making the mix wider, but again, all it's doing is turning down your mids. And this is another sloppy way of doing things because it's widening everything above 120 hertz. Again, usually not a good mastering solution because it's going to create a hollow sounding song that's lacking in punch. You're basically sacrificing your mids to turn up the sides here. And I haven't even touched on phase issues that can occur when you're using utility because the filter for bass mono is not linear phase. It's also not minimum phase. Instead, a much slicker and more professional technique is to use mid-side EQ, often called MSEQ. Don't worry if you're not using Ableton Live. In a sec, I'll show you how to do this with a free plugin. With EQ 8, we're going to make sure oversampling is ticked. This will help you get the best sound possible. And just FYI, this is how you can save this as your default EQ, so you never have to worry about turning oversampling on. Okay, and now here, we'll switch the mode from stereo to MS. Now we are in mid-side mode. Now before I go on, let me just mention that every song across the board is going to be different. You might not need to widen your mix at all, really, but here's a common approach if that's what you think your song needs. So for the mids, let's set the high pass between 20 and 30 hertz. This is a standard technique that can make your low end punch harder and free up headroom because you're removing frequencies below your ability to hear or the ability of most speakers to reproduce. So you might as well do this. And then let's look/listen to the sides. Here it's common to boost some of the higher frequency content in order to give your mix a wider, brighter feeling. So let's try a wide bell in an area that might need a lift. that sounds nice. Or let's try a 3 dB high shelf somewhere between 2 and 5K. So this high shelf is boosting 3 dB, which is a lot, but I want you to really hear the effect. Now we can gently dial back the low end on the sides. This can really do wonders for your master because it's taking sub information out of the sides, and it's essentially making your bass mono. Now then again, depending on the song, you might want to add some low end back to your mids to make them pop. Let's try maybe a 2 dB bell. Here's another technique to try. Sometimes it can sound super awesome when there's a progressive widening towards the top end of your song. So we'll start with a 1 dB high shelf in the sides, somewhere between 3 and 5K. And then a second high shelf in the sides, boosting another decibel. Maybe at like 10 kilohertz and up. So now let's exaggerate this effect with scale. Now, mastering should always be very subtle, but using scale is a great way to quickly exaggerate or dial back your EQ changes. In case you're not a live user and don't have EQ8, or you don't have a mid-side EQ in your DAW, I'm going to show you how you can easily do something very similar with the freeware version of the TDR Nova plugin. Basically, you're going to switch the mode to diff, and then boost your sides as you see fit. And you can also high pass. One big caveat that I should mention at the end here is that there are a lot of widening techniques, but they don't necessarily create stereo width. They just enhance the width that's already there. So if you have a track that's completely mono, what I just showed you and a lot of other techniques like it won't have any effect at all. You always got to make sure that there's some stereo information already there before you go into the mastering process. But anyway, hopefully by now you see the potential of the mid-side EQ technique. You can widen your master in an extremely precise way that can really breathe life into your mix and give it that extra 5% polish. And it's not heavy-handed like using something like Utility. Okay, and don't forget to sign up for our upcoming free webinar on mastering. Hope to see you there.
Blaster.